Whee! In this Baldur's Gate 3 build guide, I'm going to show you a bard build that I have been using, and it's really fun to use, so let's get started. We're going to be choosing the elf race for this build, and we're going to be going with half elf, and then I'm going to be choosing the firebolt, and this scales off intelligence, so keep this in mind. And we're going with the bard class. These are the contrips right here that I have been using. And these are the spells. Now this build guide is just a quick video to show you the build that I've been using. And I'm going to go from level 1 all the way to level 12. Instrument, violin, background, sage. And then these are the abilities that I'm rolling with. A little bit different to what everybody else does. So I'm doing 8 inch strength, 16 dex, 14 constitution, 12 intelligence, 8 wisdom, and 16 charisma. A lot of people do 17 charisma, but I do 16 because the extra point doesn't make a difference. Now you'll see here that intelligence is up a little bit. The reason why is because with this particular build, these here scale off intelligence. So I'm using Firebolt, which is intelligence, and that's why I have a little bit into intelligence. So just keep that in mind with this particular build. Now at level 2, we get Jack of all trades. Your vast experiences make you more likely to succeed in any undertaking. Add half of your proficiency bonus rounded down to ability checks not proficient in. This is extremely good. And we also have Song of Rest. You and your allies are revitalized as though you would have taken a short rest. And then we can also pick another spell for level 2. Now you could really just pick whatever you like here, but in this one, what I usually go with is the Cure Wounds, heal a creature you can touch. This is very good when you start to get companions, and you will have a companion or two by the time you get to level 2. Alright, from level 2 to 3, I do it a little bit different to everybody else. We can choose another spell, either choose Shatter or Cloud of Daggers is what I go with. Cloud of Daggers is more fun for me, but Shatter works very well for this build. I go with College of Swords. Now the reason is because we chose a sage background, we actually are already proficient in these here. And I like to just have this because it's a good mix and it's kind of like a bard / melee build that I'm doing, and I just like to do it. Now the problem is we have to choose a fighting style, and at the start of the game, from level 2 to 3 you might already have different weapons, but at the start we don't have a one-handed weapon, and so these really aren't going to make sense unless you have a weapon that is suitable. So, for example, when you are wielding a melee weapon that is not two-handed or versatile in one hand and no weapon in the other, you deal an additional 2 damage. This is what I choose because by the time I'm at level 3, I will probably have a weapon that is suitable for this. So now I'll quickly go through these, but I've got this here, which is Shatter. Really good one. So damage all enemy creatures and object creatures made of inorganic materials such as stone have a disadvantage on their saving throws. But we also have these melee weapons as well. Attacks. That are really good and work quite well with this particular build. Then we also have our health as well. But you can change these out if you like. This one is also very good, which was our level 1 spell though. But this is what I have at level 3. From level 3 to 4, you can get a cantrip, and I go with the Blade Ward just for a bit of extra defense here. Take only half the damage from bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing attacks, but you can choose whatever you want here. For spells, you can also choose whatever you want. I suggest a level 2. I usually go with Cloud of Daggers at this point, or if I'm not using Cloud of Daggers, I go with Shatter. And then for the feat, I go Ability Improvement, and I get my Charisma up to 18 because it was only at 16 before. So now it's higher at 18. From level 4 to 5, you now get level 3 spells. The one I like to go with is Plant Growth. This is quite good. It slows the enemies moving through this. But you could pick one of these. Stinking Cloud is also a very good one. But because I have some very good melee stuff, I'm not essentially looking for something crazy here. But I do like the Plant Growth. Now the reason I chose Plant Growth before, just because even though this is a melee build, sometimes if there's quite a lot of enemies, I can keep a few enemies in one area while I'm fighting other enemies. And level 5 to 6, you get another spell. Nothing really happens on this level. This is the one I go with, but you can choose any one you want. You can either do a level 2 spell if you want to just go back to level 2 spell for maybe some more damage. Like this one is pretty good, Heat Metal. But just go through and choose probably a level 2 or a level 3 spell that you think would work well for you. But by the time you get to this point, you're going to see what your play style is, and you will know what type of spell that you're going to want to pick. Just go through them and see what one is the right one for you. There's no specific spell to choose at this point in time. It's just how you feel and how your play style is working. And sometimes actually I will use like a health one or something like that if I can, just at this point, because I might need that extra boost in health or something along those lines, depending on where you are at that level. At this point, we now unlock level 4 spells, and the one I like to go with is Greater Invisibility. Turn a creature invisible. Attacks against it have disadvantage. It attacks with advantage. So this is a very good one for yourself, so you can get yourself some advantage attacks. At level 8, you are going to be able to pick another spell. You can just choose whatever you like, because you're going to have a lot of spells at this point in time. But more importantly, you are going to get a feat. Now, this is a bit of a mixed up bard, so I do have a lot of melee attacks with this specific one. So you go with Savage Attacker. When making weapon attacks, you roll your damage dice twice and use the highest result. This works very well for me with this specific build. From level 8 to 9, you now get level 5 spells, and I go with Mass Cure Wounds. This works well. With this specific build, you are kind of close all the time in a lot of melee, so we do get hit quite a bit, and this works very well. I just like to have this one. But once again, you could go through and just choose whatever you like. The spells aren't too important. You just do what you feel works for you, because by the time you get to that level, you're going to understand what works best for your class. Alright, so level 9 to 10, we now get some more features. So we get the bonus gain from Bardic, increases to 1d10. And then we get another cantrip, and I've chosen this one. And we can do another spell, I've chosen this one. But now we get magical secrets. So this is where I get a big damage one. So what this does is make a flurry of frost, crisp air, and condensed snow crystals erupt from your hand. And we do 8 to 64 damage. And then I've also chosen this one, which is poison a target and possibly afflict them with a disease of your choice. So these are the two that I've chosen, but you can pick any of these. Obviously, the higher the level, the higher the damage, but these are the two that I go with. Now, you also get some more skills that you can just go through and put into I put them into Arcana and Perception. Level 11, we get another spell. We're going to go with this one. Cause a creature to start dancing, making it unable to take actions or move. Attackers have advantage on attack rolls. This is the one that I go with. And then for the last level, now at this point, you can pick a level 12. We can pick another spell. When I get to this, like level 12, I just pick whatever, because there's so many spells and stuff that I have already, but this is what I'm gone with. More importantly, we have a feat. I do ability improvement, and I get my charisma to 20, and that is the bard that I have. Now let me just show you what some of this stuff can do. Some of the bigger stuff, we have some real... So essentially what this will do is if someone is in the way in this triangle, we do frost damage. It's a very, very cool one that I really enjoy. And this one here, we can essentially put different types of poisons on the targets. We obviously don't have a target right now. We could do it to her. So our thing is poisoned. We have the daggers, which is one of my favorite. This is more of an early on spell. And then we have some health spells, and we still have all of our melee as well. And then we have all of our early on spells. But like I say, as you progress through the game and the levels, you're going to you're not going to have a build that's exactly like this, because you would have built your build out to suit you. But this spell here is one of my favorites. This is awesome, and I would highly recommend this spell for this build. And then we also have this melee stuff as well. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next Baldurs Gate 3 build guide.